Good morning to you. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com here with your hurricane outlook and discussion. I am in Gulfport, Mississippi still. No webcam today because, man, oh man, after working late last night, you don't want to see me. And you want to see the graphics anyway. I'll be back tomorrow. It'll be all right. At least where you can see me. So, Tropical Depression Cristobol. Here we are. It's made landfall. It's now over Louisiana, the center of it. And boy, this was an impactful event. Definitely the most impactful tropical storm that I have personally been in. That doesn't mean that it's the most impactful tropical storm ever. This is just the most impactful storm that I have been in. The effects of a 50-mile-per-hour tropical storm were impressive along the Mississippi coast over into Louisiana, and they are still going on. As we can see from the morning update here, the 8 a.m. Eastern Time intermediate advisory, Cristobol located here over at it's basically straddling the Mississippi River there. And the winds are about 35 miles per hour. It's a depression. But here's the remarkable thing, folks. It's going to come up all the way through Arkansas, Missouri, into Illinois, Wisconsin, and then end up way up here in Canada, of all places. This vigorous piece of energy in the atmosphere is going to survive a long way after starting off as a piece of energy from the Central American gyre that began in the Eastern Pacific. Some of the DNA of this from East Pacific tropical storm Amanda. That is absolutely remarkable. From a meteorological perspective, this is amazing. It really is. So lots of impacts coming up. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Here is a visible satellite loop courtesy of the weathernerds.org site. Very vigorous circulation, no doubt about it. The limiting factor, fortunately for folks in Mississippi and Louisiana, was the dry air. It took a while for this system to fight that dry air off. It was able to intensify some yesterday, dropping the pressure down to 992 millibars right before landfall. It made landfall down here in Plaquemines Parish. And then it moved its way up, and now you can see it's here sitting over the Mississippi River, basically, near the Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi junction, the tri-state area, right? And if it wasn't for that dry air and the fact that this sat over land in southeast Mexico and Guatemala for, more than 36 hours, this would have been a formidable hurricane. And the damage that it would have caused over here, as bad as it was, with 5 to 6 feet of surge, it could have been worse, definitely. So as it stands, it's going to spread heavy rain, the threat of severe weather. Travel across the interstate system anywhere in this region is going to be difficult at times, so people are going to have to take that to heed. And remember, slow down, right? Slow down and live to see another day. Because that's the most important thing, is your safety. Check out the vorticity signature of it. Very round, as we talk about, very well organized. And all of this energy, here's the trough that's going to pick it up. So here is vorticity in the atmosphere stretched out over a long distance. But this represents a lot of energy. This represents energy that is bundled. This is also heat energy, the latent heat of condensation, working with this vigorous trough that's going to come in. All of that's going to combine up in this area to bring one heck of a storm system over the next several days. And you can see that on the radar here. If we zoom in, lots of showers still streaming in off of the Gulf, and even all the way over into parts of central Alabama, loosely related with the overall low pressure area. So again, if you have travel plans across I-20, I-10, 59, 55, any of those interstate systems, and then as this moves up into Missouri and elsewhere, you want to be sure you're very aware of travel conditions, because trust me, the tropical rainfall that's coming, some of you folks have never seen anything like this before, and it's been a long time if you have, and they can dump heavy rain in a quick amount of time, flooding the water on the roadways, causing all kinds of problems. So just stay weather aware, right? We want you hurricane prepared. That's the first part. I'm a hurricane person. and that's what I specialize in. But the general awareness of weather is equally as important. And if you're ready for hurricanes, you're ready for just about anything. Check out the flood watches all the way up into the middle of the country here, outlining the swath of hazards from the leftovers here of Cristobol. These are all wind and fire danger advisories, and then actually some winter advisories out here in parts of the Great Basin and the Rockies. So winter's still trying to do its thing out there. Isn't that crazy? Dynamic weather here in the lower 48. It's June, and you do have these clashes of seasons sometimes, so not surprising. In this case, tropical cyclone coming up into the nation's midsection, trough coming out this way. They will combine to make a pretty big storm for the upper Midwest and into Canada. All right, what about the rest of the tropics? Well, clearly you can see there's Cristobol here, and trough moved offshore of the U.S. No development expected from this over here near Bermuda. It was kind of looking like it might yesterday, but it was only a low chance. Down in the deep tropics, strong upper level winds you can clearly see there. A few tropical waves moving out through the Atlantic, but very dry air coming off the coast of Africa. The Saharan air layer, prevalent this time of year, which we would expect. We are still well ahead of where we would expect to see any kind of significant development out in this area. And if we do get development out there, that would be quite unusual. We don't want to see that. That would be a very bad sign. But if you look right down here, just approaching Trinidad and Tobago, a little bit of shower and thunderstorm activity, a small cluster there trying to organize. And you'll see that more and more going over the next few weeks, but nothing indicated in the guidance from either the short-term modeling, medium-term, or the long-term. The pattern's just not favorable right now, so only a few passing showers and a few thunderstorms with any of these tropical waves. All right, looking ahead, boy, this is really telling. The sea surface temperature anomalies, this was updated yesterday. It updates every day now, which is great. Atlantic Basin, warmer than average. The Pacific still cooling off. Some of these anomalies in here are approaching or surpassing La Nina thresholds. And the Atlantic Basin main development region here, this is about as favorable a setup as you could ask for. Not that anybody's asking for it, but if you're looking for it, what kind of setup would make a busy hurricane season? This is it. No doubt about it. And we can see what Ben Knoll was tweeting, that the brand new North American multi-model ensemble continues to predict above normal precipitation. That's all this green that we see through here. That's the above normal precip coming out of the main development region and into the subtropics. And then in the Caribbean, wow, big hurricane season ahead. The models are all over it. The fingerprints of and I talked about this before, if you play detective and you look for clues, these are your clues. You go and you look at that. This is the current situation. This is the forecast based off of observations like this. And the result is going to be a very busy season, especially latter August through probably most of October. All right, looking ahead, the GFS for the lower 48, let me just show you what's what. East coast of the United States over here, Florida, Gulf Coast, etc. There's Wisconsin as an example. Here's Iowa. There's Missouri in there. All right, just giving you your geographic bearings. And that, of course, is the signature in the precip field of the leftovers of Cristobol. If we move this out into time, look at what happens. It moves up right through the nation's midsection, combining with this energy coming in, and you're going to get one heck of a storm, pressure down to 987. It actually intensifies over land, baroclinic energy coming in, getting a shot from the atmosphere, not from the ocean. So it's not latent heat anymore. It's atmospheric energy. It strengthens on up into Canada. Windy, stormy, heavy rain. Wow. If only I had the energy to get from Gulfport all the way up here and track it into Canada. I forgot my passport, and I don't know if Justin Trudeau would let me into Canada. Are they doing that yet? I'm serious. I'm not even trying to be a smart aleck. Can you cross into Canada with the whole COVID thing? I don't even know. Doesn't matter because I can't do it. I don't have that much in me, folks. Sorry. So that's a look at the lower 48. What about the rest of the Western Hemisphere? We switch gears here. This is the 850 millibar level. This is what we look for. That roundness. That is the signature of a healthy tropical system. Even though it's over land and it's weakened, it's filled, the pressure's filling in, it's still very healthy structurally. All right, so if you took this and could immediately move it out to the Northwest Caribbean, right there, let's say you just plopped it right there. If the upper level winds were favorable and there was not much dry air, that vorticity signature would take advantage of the warm Caribbean, and it would be a hurricane inside of 24 hours. That's what we look for. So let's move this out for the next 5 days. And let's see, do we see anything besides the signature of Cristobol moving away? Here we are at 48, 72 hours, nothing much, just your trades kind of blowing on through. Little small pieces of energy you see in there. You know, those are your minute details that the high resolution models can pick up, but no organized tropical waves. Same thing can be said at 96 hours. Maybe a little bit of a low pressure area that tries to develop out here. Broad, these large bands of vorticity show you that it's very spread out, not focusing. And then finally by day 5, generally more of the same. I don't see anything developing anytime soon. There's some rumblings in the modeling every now and then that we might get more development in the Caribbean. Well, it's June. That's what you would expect to happen. That's climatologically the area that we would watch. All right, so there you go. Remember, I'm on Twitter, at HurricaneTrack, that's the brand. YouTube, that's where you're watching this probably. At HurricaneTrack is the, well, it's, you know, HurricaneTrack. And then, of course, supported by our patrons on Patreon. Many benefits to signing up and becoming a sustaining member. And a huge, huge thank you to everyone that has been involved with Patreon over the last few years. And our long-term, 15 years now, HurricaneTrack supporters. The power of crowdfunding is amazing. I'm going to do a video tomorrow specifically talking about the plans going forward, how we're going to use crowdfunding, how we're going to use Patreon, what happened to my app, Hurricane Impact. I want to dedicate a short video talking about all of that, and kind of a roadmap to where we're going to go this year and how you can get involved and how it can benefit you. But again, big thanks to all of our patrons for supporting this project. It was very successful here along the coast, and it's still going on. You saw on Twitter the video that I posted of the flooding in Mandeville still happening. I can't even go get the camera there until that goes away. Anyhow, have a great rest of your Monday as always. Thank you for tuning in. It's great to have you watching from your side of the screen. I'm Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com. I'll talk to you some more tomorrow.